Hi folks. Listen, I've got a board of mugs to skim and handle, and skimming is another word for trimming in my vocabulary, is what I was taught. And I start with a cylinder, or not really a cylinder, but a lump of clay that's humped and dried off. So it's still a bit sticky, but it's not tacky and wet. Now that helps center the rim of each mug as I drop it onto the chuck, or they call them a Charles in England. So the rim is pretty much at center, the bottom is not. A little bit of tap centering and a trim. Now I put a bevel from the wall to the base, dampen it, smooth it, and then I come back with a sharp edge of a sponge and I put my fingernail through it and I create a circle right there. And what that does, it frames the wiggle wire pattern that's on the bottom of all my mugs. I don't want any sharp edges. A little bit of compression here so I don't get the base bowing upward. Pop it off. Now the first one, you can see the first mug or two are going to have just a little bit of that sticky clay stuck to them, but it wipes away very easily. Now when I did this whole process, I sort of took this a little bit out of round, so I use this rounder, round it up again, and set it on my board. I'm just going to work my way through 20 mugs until they're done and ready for handles. Now this is my barrel-shaped mug, which I've been making for many years, and it's probably my most popular shape. I don't put any sharp edges on it because nothing gets abused and used as much as a coffee mug, and I don't want any chipping to happen. Now I dry my mugs from beginning to end upright. I never turn them on their rim. The reason I do that is I have found if I do put them on their rim upside down to try and dry the foot a bit more, while the pots are at this stage, they start shrinking. They'll catch on the surface of the board and pull themselves out of round at the rim. And I don't want that to happen. So I never turn my pots upside down to dry them, ever. So I just work at these in repetition, doing one after the other, kind of exactly the same as the one before. So I call this skimming as opposed to trimming. I don't know why. It's just a word that has been in my vocabulary for clay for a long time. I think trimming means you're cutting away a lot of clay, and I'm not doing that here. I'm just taking off the sharp edge that was created when they were thrown and undercut. I'm putting pressure at the center of the pot just a little bit, just to hold it in place. But what I have found is that if this surface, which has a wiggle wire pattern on it, is still soft, and my fingers have a tendency to smear that pattern, which I don't want to happen. I'll do this. I'll take a little cap and put it here. Put my finger inside, and just, it keeps my finger from smudging the wiggle wire pattern. Now I don't have to do that to this group because they're stiff enough and they're ready for handles. Now the reason I use a rib, my clay has a bit of aggregate in it, a bit of sand, and you can see the little marks that are left, the tear marks, and I don't want those showing when the pot is finished. So a little bit of dampness and a little bit of rib, soft pliable rib, closes all those pores over. The other thing is, if you're doing this sort of skimming on bowls and you're trimming quite a lot of the foot area, you can create pinholing if you don't close off those little marks from the grog or sand. So I'm just going to work my way through the rest of these mugs, and then this afternoon get handles on them. So thanks for watching.